Do you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yep.
How the hell are you, bud?
Good. My stomach's wrecked right now.
From what?
We went to Javier's last night for Callie's birthday. What a scene that place is.
Which one? Crystal Cove?
The, yeah. Yeah. So might have to take a break at some point here.
What did that run you?
Oh, a lot. Yeah. A lot of money there.
It makes LGs seem cheap, that place, dude.
Oh, dude, that place is gnarly.
Pretty hard to think of worse podcasting circumstances than what I'm in right now. My entire parents' house is asleep. Both my parents and my kids and my wife. It's freezing down here. And we're on Zoom and it's a free account. So every 40 minutes, we're going to have to stop and I'm going to have to schedule a new meeting and send you a link. And we're going to have to keep jumping on that new link. And my parents' internet sucks.
Really?
Really? That's big up here after last week's episode. Huge at the
Really?
wedding last night.
Really?
Really. Live to tape from my childhood home in Woodinville, Washington. My name is Adam Hawk. I am joined via Zoom video conferencing by my business and iPod broadcasting partner, Ryan Engle, who is in San Clemente, California. And this is the Fellowship, a weekly episodic podcast where the great game of golf serves as the backdrop for the even greater journey of life.
You love to hear it.
This week, my journey in life has taken me back to Seattle, where my parents, 3 brothers, 3 sister-in-laws, 6 nieces and nephews all reside, a place I called home from the age of 9 all the way until the age of 22, and a place I still call home because all of my formative years happened right here. It's good to be back, but even better to be back with you, Mr. Engle. How is everything at HQ down in South Orange County?
Real quiet. There's not a lot of whining and crying and belly aching from one little insect here or there. So it was a nice morning. I didn't have some anxious person sucking the life out of the room when I came into the office.
Okay. So you're clearly talking about me.
Just kidding. Everything's great. The weather's wonderful. The sun is shining. It's all good over here.
Well, that must have been nice for you, though, to come into work and not have me there hiding out in my car waiting for you to show up so you can go sweep the perimeter to make sure there's no cockroaches.
Yep. And great news. Day 3, no roaches.
Yes. Now, when you say day 3, that implies that you went in on Saturday and Sunday?
I went in on Saturday, but just for a little bit.
Wow. Working the weekend, huh?
Yeah, man.
Off the top, we have never recorded a show in separate locations before, and I have no way of knowing what our current audio quality is until after we're done taping, nor do I have any way of knowing for sure if the audio is actually recording. So fingers crossed that we're sounding okay and that we're getting something on tape here. Pending that both of those things work out, thank you for listening to the show, subscribing to the show, liking the show, and commenting on the show. All things you can and should do over at youtube.com/@NationGolf.
Monetized.
It is monetized.
Adam is all about that monetization.
There is a bit of horse hockey coming up later, but the entire point of working on vacation this week was so we could react in a timely fashion to the 4th and final major of the year, the 152nd playing of the British Open, or if you're a prick, the Open. Alexander Victor Schauffele lived up to his middle name and ripped the claret jug at Royal Troon with a flawless round of Sunday golf, and in doing so, wins the first major of his career. What a moment for the 30-year-old San Diego kid. He finally gets the 800-pound gorilla off of his back and joins the club. And now no one can ever ask him again about when he thinks his time is coming because, ladies and gentlemen, his ship has pulled into the harbor. Congratulations to the Z-Man, Xander Schauffele. Didn't know if it would ever happen, but it did. First time major winner. Now let's see if he can make up for lost time and stack a few more to really help cement his career as an all-time great.
Boy, the poor old PGA, the PGA of America. It's like they're watching the golf world just pass them by at parade speed with the Rose Parade wave, just that slow robotic cupping action, you know? It's like, bye bye, PGA.
Now, before anyone has a meltdown and gets all upset that I'm off on my count and that this is Xander's second major, I want you all to calm down, take a deep breath, and point to the major that I'm missing. And if you're pointing at the PGA Championship earlier this year at Valhalla, the joke is on you because, of course, that major didn't count. That is a signature event at best.
Yeah.
And now, please, for the second time, relax again. I am only kidding. As Dean Martin would say, just trying to have a little fun here, folks. It counts, and winning the British Open yesterday is actually a big reason why it counts. Xander, and you tell me if I'm wrong here, Engle, he just validated that PGA Championship in a way that no one can take away.
Yeah, I think, we touched on it in weeks past after that other victory, and we were both kind of in the same vein in agreement. What's he going to do after? Just going to elevate him? Does he have the monkey off his back now? And it's nice to see the kid prove it because, all joking aside, it's funny to make fun, but he's an unbelievable player, unbelievable talent, especially for a little guy. He hits it out there a mile. He's put in the work. I love his relationship with his caddy and his college teammate. There's a lot to love about the kid. I just love how people are like, oh, look, there's one picture of him smoking a cigar. He's cool. And it's like, that dude definitely plays video games in ankle socks in his off time. He's not cool at all, but he's a cool golfer. So I like that about him. And it was rad to see him execute on Sunday. It was a clean card. Even more so than that, it was somewhat of a disrespectful card. With a major championship, especially one at a venue like Royal Troon, in a style of golf like links golf, and historically in a geographical area like Scotland and the history behind the Open Championship, you hate to see resort-like conditions. Those pins were way too easy on Sunday. The course was not playing with any teeth whatsoever. The greens were slow. There wasn't much defense. And as we know nowadays with these guys, as dialed in as they are and how good the equipment is, if you give them enough time to figure it out, you better make it tougher as the week goes on, or else they will start to figure it out. And you don't want to see a bunch of 65s on Sunday in an Open Championship. It would have been way more compelling to watch more artistic shots from jail and gutsy par saves than stuffing it and going on birdie brigade. And it's nothing against Xander. It's not his fault. He doesn't set up the course. But if we're being honest with ourselves, after Saturday's bloodbath, Sunday for me as a purist was a little disappointing. Everything led up to that moment to be an A+ spectacular event that had everything you want from links golf, weather conditions, the field struggling, shot making, and then come Sunday, they're just hitting 200-yard 6-irons and stuffing it. It's just more of the same of the things I don't like about where the game is right now, the professional game. I think we were right there to have something very, very interesting. And for everyone who's going to say, here comes Engle as a hater again, look, put those pins in a tougher spot. And this is the last day of the tournament. Mow that shit tight and roll it. Make these guys scared on the putting green. That would have been incredible to watch. These guys were just slamming the ball on the hole, dude. There was no risk reward for putting a good putt on it. The ball had breaks. You hate to see it.
In fairness, there was only one 65 shot yesterday, and that was Xander. There were quite a few scores in the 60s. The second point, in contrary to what you said, is that I think Mother Nature was one hell of a superintendent Thursday, Friday, Saturday, despite the fact that Sunday was a little easier.
But they have mowers. They've got really nice lawn mowers nowadays. I don't know if you knew this, Adam, with rollers on them, and you can adjust them by the millimeter, which is pretty interesting. Just in case you didn't know this, that affects the height of the grass, or as we say over across the pond, the turf. And the rollers make the compacted soil beneath that turf firmer and more rolly, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, that in a combination with where the pins were way gettable. Here it is all week long. We hear over and over again, the postage stamp, the postage stamp. Then we get there on Sunday, the pin's right in the fucking middle. It's a 100-yard shot, and everybody's just holding off a wedge. The ball's just sitting right next to the hold. Okay, well, there went that challenge I was looking forward to. I was expecting that finishing whole stretch to just give us some fireworks, and it was just like, okay, it looks like Xander has birdied again, and it doesn't look like someone's going to catch him, so go ahead and go back to watching your daughter in swim class and paying attention to something else, because there's nothing really here to watch right now. To me, I'm just speaking personally, I think that was unfortunately no one's real fault, but kind of a big miss for the tournament. And that's where I go, it just missed being an absolute banger of a weekend. It was so close.
I want to go back to Xander validating the PGA Championship, because the PGA Championship was an event he won at, I believe, 21 under par. That was a true birdie fest. And to see him go out and win in a completely different way really validated that PGA Championship. And for me, it's like playing horse in the driveway on a basketball hoop, and you hang the final letter E on your opponent. And I've always played it where you have to prove it or back it up, meaning if you hang an E on your opponent, you got to go make the shot that he or she had already missed. It's a double stamp. It's essentially saying, you might think that the shot I made was lucky or cheap or ridiculous, but I'll do it again. Here it is, right in your face and on your head. Eat it. And Xander made a lot of people eat a lot of things yesterday. And I, Adam Hawk, am at the buffet just getting it shoved down my fat face right now. There is no ability like accountability, and I will be accountable. I'll own up to everything I ever said about Xander right here. I said he's a choker. I said he's a lifetime wannabe. I said he will never win a major. And I said that his PGA Championship was more about Scotty Scheffler getting arrested and still almost winning than it was about Xander. And I said that I'm going to need to see that kind of performance somewhere else besides Vanilla Holla to really throw some flowers this guy's way. And guess what, folks? Xander Schauffele has made me look like a sad birthday clown this year. And beyond that, I'm here to say today, and you're going to want to sit up in your chair and get ready to argue and kill me through the Zoom screen right now, Engle. I'm here to say that Xander Schauffele has officially hijacked Scotty Scheffler's season. Xander Schauffele is now the undisputed king of 2024, which is wild.
Which is incorrect.
Scotty Scheffler is a 6-time winner.
How many times has that happened this far along in the season?
How many times has what happened?
6 victories this far along. How many guys have done it? 2. And they're Hall of Fame legends. So Xander deserves some flowers here. Winning 6 events, and a lot of those events were elevated events, let alone a major. Scotty, he's dominating with subpar putting. 6 victories against a Valhalla and a benign Sunday across the pond, and you're going to give Player of the Year to that guy. You should lose your Screen Actors Guild card.
I'm not saying I'm giving Player of the Year to Xander Schauffele. I'm saying that Xander Schauffele officially owns 2024. And here's the thing. Yes, Scotty Scheffler has won 6 times. He has finished in the top 10, 11 out of the 14 events he's played. Scotty Scheffler won the Masters. He leads the money list by a Brinks truck. He's the number one player in the world, and he is the best tee to green player we have seen since Tiger Woods. But the conversation begins and ends with majors. We've been measuring Tiger against Jack in one category for the last 30 years, and we will keep doing it that way until the end of time. Majors, Xander has 2, Scotty has 1. End of discussion. I don't make the rules. I just follow them.
Just want to congratulate Scotty Scheffler for winning PGA Tour Player of the Year in 2024. Kudos. Congratulations, Scotty. Well deserved. Okay, what's the next topic, Hawk?
Here's how I know that I am on the right side of this debate. If you ask Scotty Scheffler, would you rather have your season or Xander's? He is taking Xander's.
I like that point. Should we just start doing more emotional what ifs? Let's just do that the whole show. I think the listener would really appreciate that. What if world of fantasy. And are you a sci-fi guy, Adam?
You have always made the distinction between fantasy and sci-fi. So what are we talking about here?
It sounds like we're just crossing lightsabers at the moment, to be honest with you.
Listen, I can hear a lot of people weighing this out in their mind. Yeah, but Scotty won the Masters. It doesn't matter. No one is parsing out how many of each major Jack and Tiger won. The conversation is 18 versus 15. And that's it. It's how it works. These debates are extremely primitive and rigid, but that's because they have to be. They are dumbed down to the lowest common denominator, and that is the number of majors. So to me, the biggest storyline coming out of the Open isn't that Xander won. It's that he just stole 2024 from Scotty. It's that he won more majors than Scotty. It's that we had Scotty on Grand Slam watch after the Masters, and Xander is the one who went and won 2 of the last 3. This is the way that we measure greatness, by Super Bowls, NBA championships, World Series rings, Grand Slams, and majors. I didn't invent it, but it's how we do it. Aaron Rodgers, more talented than Tom Brady, but who's the GOAT and why? And it's Tom Brady because of the Super Bowls. Roger Federer, a better tennis player in his prime than Novak Djokovic, but Djokovic has more slams, and he'll be remembered over time as the best ever. If you want a more recent example in golf than Tiger and Jack, where I believe Tiger is the more talented player, but Jack will be remembered as the GOAT because of the major count, look no further than Brooks Koepka and Rory McIlroy. Rory has won 26 times on the PGA Tour. He's a FedEx Cup champ, made more money than God, has sponsors out the backside, has been the face of pro golf for over a decade. They're going to put him in the Hall of Fame before he retires. You could argue no one has had a more holistically successful golf career after Tiger Woods than Rory McIlroy. And this dude would trade it all in the blink of an eye for Brooks Koepka's 5th major. And I would bet my life on that trade going down. Rory has Brooks beat on every scoreboard except the one that matters, the most important one that matters to him and everyone else. And if you watched Full Swing season 2,
no thanks.
Apologies. What a colossal waste of time. But if you watched it, Rory said after the PGA Championship last year,
look, what he said was 400 fucking times.
What he said after saying 400 times is how lividly pissed he was that someone in his generation now has more majors than him. Because he knows that in the end, when 2 yahoos are finding the bottom of a couple of pint glasses and they're jaw-jacking in 2054 about who the better golfer was, Rory or Brooks, the guy who says Brooks Koepka is going to win that argument. And Rory hates that. So is Xander the better golfer than Scotty? No, I don't think so. But I do think it's a lot closer than anyone thought it was a few months ago. But I still think that Scotty would rather have 2 majors in one season than 1. And Xander has that. So did Xander just claim the throne to 2024 because of the major count? Absolutely yes. And Scotty would agree with that.
Okay. Welcome to the Captain Obvious Show, starring Shock Jock, Adam Hawk. Look, dude, obviously, if you ask Scotty right now, would he change his 6 wins for 2 majors? Duh. Yeah, we all measure people in majors. What Zonder did was incredible. And in fact, unfortunately for him, this is the pinnacle of his career. Did he get the monkey off his back? Yes. Is he going to probably win again? Is he going to be a threat? Is he going to play stellar golf? Is he a stick? 100%. All of the above. But is he going to win two majors in a season again? Absolutely not. Everyone knows it. This is his moment. This is his time on the mountain. Unfortunately for him, Scotty Scheffler will win PGA Tour Player of the Year by a fucking landslide. So, yeah, you stole 2024. Let's have an emotional take on it and get everyone riled up with it. My goodness gracious, Adam. I'm trying to drink my coffee in peace, and we're talking silly business right now. Okay.
Okay.
Great job.
Okay. You're all over the place. You're now throwing PGA Tour Player of the Year awards out there as if that means something. Look,
It's not that it means something. That you're trying to get this emotional response from he just stole 2024 from Scotty Scheffler. I mean, okay,
Okay.
great. Guess what? Next week, Scotty's going to be playing Mr. Goober again. Like, oh, hey, look, I'm at the top of the leaderboard. Week in, week out, the guy is numb to it. They play a tour. They play this calendar schedule. And yes, some tournaments are bigger than others, obviously. Obviously, the majors is what cements your place in golf history, obviously. But they play a tour week in and week out. Zonder had a couple real big ones. Congratulations. He's here. Like I said, monkey's off his back. The guy's incredible. But don't think that Scotty's going to just stop knocking on the door. This is Scotty's throne to take, and Zonder did not just take the throne by winning this weekend. And if you want to play what ifs, I guarantee you right now, if you asked Zonder who the best player in the world is, who's the guy you got to go get, who's the best player this year, laundry list below it, and he's just going to go Scotty.
by the way, if you asked me that, I would say that too. And you don't need to ask me that because I said it 10 minutes ago that Scotty is still
Shut up.
the better
Shut
golfer.
up. Don't get snarky with me. It's too early. Don't play. Don't give me the I just said that bullshit. Come on, man.
Don't get deaf with me.
What? Huh? What?
Two things can be true at the same time. We say it all the time on this podcast, and it's time for everyone to really embrace that.
Really?
Really. Scotty Scheffler is clearly the best player in golf. He clearly had the more comprehensive, greater 2024 season. He will win PGA Tour Player of the Year. He made history this year, but all of it pales in comparison to winning two majors, which is what this is all about. It's how we measure it. And Scotty knows that he cannot change that until next year. Because, yes, we still have the Olympics and the FedEx Cup playoffs, but guess what? My favorite cereal is Honey Bunches of Oats if we want to keep talking about things that don't matter at all.
That cereal's soggy.
And I made that point because me telling you what my favorite cereal is has about as much meaning as winning whatever is left this year, which would be the FedEx Cup playoffs, the President's Cup, and the Olympics. Listen, I don't know if you fully comprehended anything that I just said. There's nothing wishy-washy about this. Scotty's the best golfer, but Xander won two majors, and that's all that matters. So they can give every award to Scotty that they want to give, but what he wants more than anything is some major championship hardware, because that's how we measure these people.
You know why I don't like it? Because every other golf podcast on earth is going to have that same fucking argument, and it means nothing, and Scotty's still the player of the year. So I didn't like that segment, Adam, and that's my personal opinion.
Here's one thing we can probably agree on. At least now we know that there is somebody who can clearly give Scotty a challenge and maybe build some storylines and some drama.
I would love to see that. I would love to see those guys head to head. Show me some fireworks. Maybe East Lake will deliver for the FedEx Cup.
You know what the unfortunate part about these two guys being the front runners in professional golf right now, neither one of them are going to give you any sort of emotion or get you out of your seat when you're watching them. Great golfers, not great personalities.
I love how like the knock that all you guys have against Scotty Scheffler is, oh, this guy's boring. It's like Zonder might be twice as boring as Scotty Scheffler inside the ropes. Twice as boring.
Guess what? There is someone in Seattle, Washington right now who totally agrees with you.
Wow. I'll say this. I really was pulling for Justin Rose.
Me too.
He played true links golf, and it would have been really nice to see him get one there. That being said, the Open Championship, it's becoming closer and closer to the Masters every year. They, for one, do an incredible job with all of the extracurricular stuff, which the Masters has mastered. But man, after watching the US Open and the PGA and this crammed front loaded schedule, and then we get to go over there, we need way more links golf in the professional game. They need to spend a couple months over there. So much greater shot making, creativity. Aesthetically, I love the look of it. I love the weather aspect of it. I love the shots they have to hit in that environment. Whereas over here, it's more of like, who's on right now? Who's swinging it good? And it's just they're all playing the same shots in over and over again. Whereas over there, it's like, who's the player right now? Who's playing this game? Who's golfing their ball? Who's got all of the shots in the bag? Who's got the creativity? I just love it now that we're out of there, had a great weekend over there, and we're coming back over here to do God knows what till the FedEx Cup. It's like, okay, well, this golf season's over. What's there left to watch now? That was the grand finale. Shit's over.
Couldn't agree with you more. I absolutely love the British Open. What an event. And I texted this to you yesterday. I love that the majors are bookended by the Masters and the British Open. It's a great start and it's a great finish with the best two majors. I like Troon. I thought Troon was great. It looked awesome on television.
Perfect links course.
Yes. I love the colors, the green, the brown, the gray, the blue. I love the gloominess of it all. It just looks like golf, pure golf. And I got to watch the final two rounds with my mom, which was special because she got me into the game. And it's not often, if ever, that I'm around her during a major. So that was really cool. And we were talking about how the British Open makes golf in 2024 look like golf in 1924. Such a timeless throwback.
It really is. I've always loved it, but the Masters was already pulling away, and the British Open just hopped on the coach. They're right there with them. And boy, I'll tell you, the USGA and the PGA of America have their hands full because they don't got it. You know, it's interesting that in this day and age where the golf world is, where professional golf is, the two most traditional major championships, the two most traditional organizations have it right.
Tiger Woods failed to make the cut.
Wow, no one saw that coming.
He shot 79, 77, 14 over par, missed the cut in his third straight major. Is it time for the big cat to take a page from Joe Biden's book and call it quits?
I don't know. I mean, I can appreciate both sides of that argument. Obviously, he's earned the exemptions. I mean, he earned the exemption into the Masters for life, so he deserves to be there. All the greats before him have done the same thing. They play well into the twilight of their career because that's a tournament, like I said, that has it all right, and they celebrate that tradition. So he deserves to be there. Same with the British Open. He's got that till he's 60, but the USGA clearly giving him a special exemption to play this year when he wasn't exempt to, which is just giving him special treatment just for the ratings. I think that's where you have to start looking at it being like, maybe make him play his way into that. I just, for the first time in the history of my life, I'll speak about it emotionally, Adam. Maybe you can finally hear me here. Watching him as of late, he to me looks like a guy who is trying to convince himself that he still loves this and still loves this game and still loves the competition. And he doesn't look like he's having fun at all. Everything looks stressful, even dealing with the fans, even going into the newsroom. And then he gets out there and he's struggling and he's just like robotic on the course. It looks like whoever he signed the deal with Sunday Red is like, hey, man, you got to get out there and play. We got to sell some polos. And he looks like a guy out there trying to sell some polos. He doesn't look like Tiger Woods. And so in that sense, if I'm right about that, then I would be like, maybe you should hang it up. I'd still like to see him show up to the Masters every year and give us a what if. I think he's earned the Open, like I said, till he's 60. The other two, I'm not so sure. I'll tell you this, for all the fanboys out there who just jump on every interview at the beginning of every week of every major where he says, well, I'm here to win. I wouldn't be here if I didn't think I could win. If you're going to really live down that glory lane and think that this guy is going to show up and play championship golf once a month, you're kidding yourself. He has no business even making the cut. Golf is a game of addiction. You're not going to win a cocaine snort off being off the sauce for 3 months. You got to put in the work and do that shit every day. Tiger's just trying to show up and win a golf tournament while all these guys are just grinding. It's like, I don't care how big your chipping green is in Jupiter, Florida, in your backyard. You're not showing up to the Open and stuffing it all day. It's just not going to happen.
Well, to me, Tiger Woods is hanging on to two things:
Sam Snead, Jack Nicklaus.
His hairline and playing professional golf. And I look at those two things and I think to myself, you would probably be better off getting rid of both of these things.
Can we talk about this real quick? How has he not shaved his head yet?
I don't know.
What is that, dude?
If I played a game where I knew I would have to take my hat off at the end of every round on national television and there were 300 cameras pointed at me, I would take that thing down to the skull. But clearly, Tiger Woods is operating on some stubbornness, whether it's with his hair or with his golf game. And I do, as a fan, find it sad that he's just kind of like Willie Mays stumbling around in center field at the end of his career out there. And there is a mindset that he has that is not matching with the mindset that I think he should have and that you have said he should have, which is just to be kind of a playing mascot or an ambassador for the game, getting out there, slapping it around, high-fiving the fans, and just kind of laughing as he gets through the motions of it. But when he does show up to the yard and says, I think I'm going to win this week, I wouldn't be here if I didn't think that, it starts to get a little sad because he's the last person to realize that he doesn't have a chance to win. And what you said was exactly right. You can't just show up to golf, especially major championship golf, not play any other time competitively and think, wow, I'm going to have the touch and feel around the greens of someone that does this 7 days a week at the highest level. I'm going to drive it as well as them. I'm going to stuff it as well as them. That just doesn't happen. So he needs to play more events. The question is, can he play more events with his body? Obviously, he's got these special exemptions coming up next year that the PGA Tour just created out of thin air for him. So we'll see if he even takes him up on that. But a lot is going to have to go right for him to win again. And to your point where you stepped on my mislead of a joke, yes, he is hanging on to trying to break that tie with Sam Snead. The Jack major record is so far out of reach.
Yeah, that's never going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Y.E. Yang, he changed all of that. That was the pinpoint moment. Look, Tiger's whole approach to the game worked incredibly well when he was on. But now you look at this very hyper-focused, serious Tiger Woods out there struggling. It's just a bad look. If he went out there and played like Arnie or Lee Trevino and just connected with the fans, not only do I think he would score better, but he'd actually be entertaining to watch. Right now, it's painful to watch. And I'll say this about the top of his head. The top of Tiger Woods' head looks like an extremely hairy leg. Not full coverage, but there's some curly sprouters going on up there.
Yeah.
He's like a chia pet that needs water.
The last thing I will personally say about Tiger Woods as a longtime big fan is that I have found myself, if you put me up to a lie detector test, just becoming pretty numb and disinterested to his professional golf career. I never thought it would be that way, but it used to be if we found out he was playing in a tournament the last 5, 6, 7 years, set your alarm clock to it, make sure that you're locked into the featured group coverage and you're watching every shot. That just doesn't happen anymore. He played the British Open, and I never went out of my way to watch what he was doing there. And I think I can say the same for the U.S. Open at Pinehurst, because that was over before it started, and the PGA Championship, same kind of vein. So he's not only embarrassing himself to a degree, I think for the first time ever, we can start to put to bed the old saying that Tiger Woods doesn't move the needle, he is the needle. Because He's neither right now. He's not moving the needle, and he certainly isn't the needle anymore. And that's the first time that's ever happened in his career.
Isn't that interesting that you've become a little numb to his professional career and not watching everything like a hawk while he's teeing it up? But you were already doing that with his personal life. You were willing to be numb to what a bad guy he is, and not paying attention to all those little things. So it's interesting how that cherry picking has creeped into the performance side of Tiger Woods. So good for you, man. It's good to see some consistency from the Hawkster. You love to see it, quite frankly, folks.
Let's do some horse hockey. We've talked enough golf.
Gaff.
So I'm in Seattle. I flew up here with my family on Alaska Airlines, which essentially is like taking your life into your own hands. Of course, Alaska Airlines is known for doors flying off mid-flight and pilots taking mushrooms. So it's a roll of the dice. I'm an Alaska guy. I fly them exclusively because they have the most flights between Seattle and John Wayne, and because I have the credit card from Alaska Airlines. So we get companion airfare tickets every year, which is nice. And as much as I would like to say I can't put a price on human life, clearly I have. If getting one good deal for one ticket every year is enough for me to get on an Alaska flight.
I'm a big Alaska guy. I back them real hard. Smaller planes, everything's a little sketchy. It's not as nice inside, but everyone there is extremely nice. And I'm all about the service. Of all the domestic brands to choose from out there, Alaska's the nicest people in there.
If Costco or In-N-Out or Chick-fil-A had an airline, it would be like Alaska.
Exactly.
Great people working there. But here's the thing, and I want everyone to just take this with a big slab of salt because it's going to sound very morbid despite the fact that it's rooted in truth. As long as my entire family is together on the same flight, I'm okay with whatever happens, because if we go down together, we go down together. You know what I mean? No one is missing their mom or their dad or their sister or their brother if we all die. And I know that that sounds very morbid, but I love the idea of all of us being on the same flight because no one is surviving the other person. It's just, hey, if this Alaska flight goes down, we're all taken out all at once. In other words, the Hawk family slogan is, we fly together, we die together.
Maybe. I could see you surviving. I could see you like leaping over your children in your wife's seat to like get to the emergency door and just like flying off to safety or something, like getting out before everyone. I could see something like that happening.
One more thing I do have to say about air travel, and I know this sounds like a Jerry Seinfeld bit, so we'll get off of this. If everyone just checked their bags, getting on and off the airplane would take 2 minutes. 2 minutes, because there's nothing to do other than sit your ass down, put that meaningless seatbelt on, and breathe in some stranger farts for 3 hours. Instead, every jackwagon is jamming their John Candy trunk in the overhead storage, jockeying for position, and then taking all day to get it down after the flight and get off the flight. It's insanity.
You know what's funny about carry-ons? And the only people who get a pass for carry-on is people who have medical conditions or families traveling with small children, because you need the gear. But what's funny about exactly what you just said is all these jackwagons get on the plane and they stuff their perfectly dimensioned, maximum sized hard case carry-on thing and they slam it up in the overhead. And you know what they never do? They never go up there and during the flight and get anything out of it. So why the fuck do you even have that thing? Go check it in, you moron. You're wasting everyone's time and no one likes to hear it. You're just doing it wrong. You're doing it absolutely wrong. You know what a carry-on's for? It's when you're at the Hudson News. You grab yourself a water, a chapstick, a bag of Doritos, and a car magazine you'll never read. That's what a carry-on's for.
That's exactly right.
So here you got these guys with folded laundry in a suitcase going above your overhead. What an idiot.
Also, if everyone checked their bags, Billy Mays would still be alive. Do you remember Billy Mays, the greatest pitchman ever, Mr. OxyClean?
Hi, Billy Mays here with an amazing new product. You gotta see it to believe it.
Yep.
Do you know how he died?
Overhead luggage hit him.
That's exactly right. He was on a flight and someone's bag in the overhead storage hit him in the head and killed him. It's a true story. You could look it up.
That's incredible.
All the more reason to check your bag. Let's read some YouTube comments. Jim Benton wrote in, quote, curious what Hawk's take will be about Daniel Brown smoking cigarettes, taking selfies with the crowd, and not wearing his hat backwards during the rain at the open. That is from Jim Benton. He made his comment on YouTube. Again, we do read YouTube comments, so if you want to get on the show, leave your comment on YouTube. To Jim Benton, I will say, I am a friend of the cigarette smoker. Dare I say, I love the cigarette smoker. No group of people has been so wrongfully vilified for a habit than cigarette smokers. And these people have been thrown outside and told to stand 25 feet away from a door while gambling addicts are driving around freeways, not looking at the road, placing bets on their phones. Cigarette smokers catch every dirty look, and people like my lovely wife exaggerate a fake cough whenever they walk by someone huffing a dart. And it's just not right. I can't stand it. So I love Daniel Brown smoking cigs on the golf course on international television. I love him not wearing his hat backwards and interacting with the crowds in the middle of the round. Big Daniel Brown guy. Great British Open for Daniel Brown.
Yep, I agree. Hey, look, the guy missed like 9 cuts in a row on the DP World Tour. He shows up there. All of a sudden, he's got it. He's gaming. What would you do? Oh, I better lock in and change everything I always do. He's like, oh, fuck this. Hey, caddy, throw me a Marbleau. Hey, Dad, you want to take a selfie with me? You goddamn right I do. You know, you got to love it. You got to love that guy. Live the moment, man.
Missed 9 cuts, didn't miss a single smoke break. Will Schwarz, after hearing last week's episode, when a cockroach crawled into my backpack in the middle of recording, he asks, will Adam be a permanent WFH employee of Nation Golf now? That's from Will Schwarz. And Will, I want to answer your question by asking Ryan Engle a question. Ryan, do you know what WFH stands for?
No idea. Wells Fargo holder.
We all know from this podcast that Ryan hasn't had a real job in 20 years, and so he doesn't know corporate jargon, and WFH stands for work from home.
Oh,
A popular acronym after the COVID-19 pandemic when many people started working remotely from home. So the question is, will I be working from home permanently now that a cockroach has crawled into my backpack? Will, it's been 1 week since that happened, and I'm 1,500 miles away. So yes, it's trending that way for sure. Cockroach crawls into my backpack, and now I'm in Seattle, Washington. Final 2 more YouTube comments that I want to get to. Birdman ZH1YB wrote, quote, more hate from you guys for the broomstick putter on last week's episode. Have either of you actually tried one? End quote. I will let you take that question. Have you ever tried a broomstick putter, or do you just hate without even knowing?
I'd like to make a public service announcement to all the listeners, friends, families, colleagues, customers, and anyone who stumbles across these very airwaves to hear what is about to come out of my mouth. If you ever, one time, wherever it is in the world, see me putting with a long putter, I want you to pull over out of your car, park your golf cart, walk across the fairway, whatever it could be. And I want you to come over and punch me in the face.
Eric Clark writes in on YouTube and says, Ryan, please take away the sound drops from Adam. They are cringy.
Love it. Love it. I love when Hawk gets a comment like this because I can just see the gears turning. Ryan, honestly, do you think I used the sound machine a little too much? Like, honestly, do you think? What, Adam? What are you crying about now?
I've asked no less than 200 people what they think about the sound drops ever since that one comment.
Yeah.
That's just the type of guy I am. I can hear 99 good things. I hear one bad thing, and it will spin me out forever.
Yep.
So I'm either going to really just triple down on these sound drops, or they're going to go away completely.
Isn't it funny that the show that nearly broke the camel's back, and that camel being you, was the Black Friday show where Katie Kai had the control of the sound machine, and it really rubbed you the wrong way, and you had a hard time bouncing back from that. And now here you are using a sound machine even more than she was. If you're me sitting here across from you, even 1,500 miles away, you'll love to see it.
Yeah, bet you do. I was at a wedding last night. Shout out to one of my best friends of all time, Zach Bulletin, for getting married. He has designed a couple of shirts for Nation Golf. In fact, I am wearing a crew neck where Zach did the graphic for the back of it. He owns a coffee shop in Seattle called Porchlight Coffee. Great guy, great follow on Instagram. Got married last night. I was there with a couple of friends from high school. And Zach's mom walked up to me, and I haven't seen her in 20 years, and I didn't have that much interaction with her when I lived up here. Zach and I were roommates for 3 or 4 years, and she came up to me and said, I know you. I recognize you. Just can you refresh my memory? And my friend who I used to live with named Andrew Story, who was at the wedding, says, oh, Christine, that is Adam Hawk. He lived with Zach for a while. He's just a lot fatter and a lot grayer than he used to be.
Both true.
And it just rolled right off his tongue. Didn't even think twice about it. I'm standing there suited and booted, just about to blow out a button.
Why would you think twice about the truth?
I do also want to shout out my brother, Aaron, sucking dingers. Been spending a lot of time with him. He gives us podcast notes on the regular. All of my family gives me podcast notes on the regular. Most of the notes are how much they like you. My older brother, Paul, said, I can't wait to meet Ryan so this bromance can start. I would much rather hang out with him than you. Back to Aaron, my younger brother. I do have 3 brothers. My younger brother, Aaron, said, you know, I really took exception to your take a couple of episodes ago where you were going in on contractors for explaining the job that they do to you after they do the job. I said something along the lines of, this is a trade of money for services. You do the service, I give the money, get the hell out of my house. And he really took exception with the fact that I said, I didn't go to DeVry, so I have no interest in this.
Did he go to DeVry?
No, but he was quick to remind me that I'm a 3-time community college dropout.
Yeah, but if you went to DeVry, you would have for sure dropped out too. So at least you're consistent, you know?
I do not have the greatest track record with higher education. And I guess I should apologize to everyone that does manual labor for work because 1, I couldn't do it. And 2, I never finished school. Thank you for fixing the, what is it called? A U trap, a P trap? What's the trap underneath the sink? What's that called?
I'll let you figure that one out.
Okay. Well, thanks for fixing that for my family and me. Here's the money. Get out of my house. That's called the old double down.
Yeah. You love it.
You love it. Well, thank you so much for listening to The Fellowship. We appreciate it. Again, this was on Zoom, so I'm praying that when I press end record that all the audio is here and that it sounds good. If it doesn't, I think for Eric Clark's sake, I'll just put out an episode of nothing but sound drops played for 45 minutes in a row.
Really?
Really.
Okay.
By the way, I was at that wedding last night and everyone came up to me all night just going, Really? Okay. This Lars Lewis and Matt Gillis human sound drops at the wedding last night.
Love it.
Love to hear it. Love to see it. All right. I got a couple more days up here. Going to play some golf. Then I'll be back on a bird to John Wayne. Hopefully I survive the Alaska flight. If I don't, we all go down together because if you fly together, you die together.
As long as you don't crawl over your kids' seats and hit that emergency door yourself. You'd be like a flying squirrel coming down in Santa Ana, dude.
Thank you so much for listening to The Fellowship. If you are on YouTube, we really appreciate it. Press like, press subscribe, comment, do all the things that we hate saying out loud, but it really helps with the whole thing. And we will talk to you next Monday.
Out of pocket, hawk it.